The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The European Parliament threatens to cut the Philippines' trade privileges. This comes after it approved a resolution condemning human rights abuses in the country. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez has the story.
The European Union is threatening to cut the Philippines' trade privileges over lingering human rights issues. 627 EU lawmakers approved a resolution condemning jaguar killings and the red tagging of activists and journalists. At stake is a trade agreement known as GSP+, which allows the duty-free entry of 6,274 Philippine products into Europe. These are mostly agricultural goods like bananas, mangoes, and fishery products. There's also processed food, textiles, shoes, metals, and car parts.
We demand an immediate end to extrajudicial killings, an end to red-tagging human rights defenders, journalists, trade union activists. The war on drugs is to end immediately. It's not so increasing its requirements on companies' human rights conduct throughout their value chains.
The current GSP Plus agreement will expire in 2023, and the Department of Trade and Industry has been working hard to get it renewed. However, the European Union set strict conditions on its trade partners, including on environmental protection, labor, and human rights. Talks have also dragged on with President Duterte, lashing out at the EU early in his presidency.
The winner of the upcoming presidential elections in Philippines will have a major task to reverse the dire human rights situation, which has seen an appalling deterioration under President Duterte.
At least 500 members of the Philippine Exporters Confederation or PhilExport are actively shipping products to the EU. That means if the GSP Plus is revoked, there could be huge job losses. The European Parliament also raised concerns that civil rights will be quote-unquote further violated and restricted in the upcoming May election. It called on candidates to refrain from using disinformation campaigns and troll armies. Malacanang has yet to respond to the EU's latest resolution. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
The Trade Department says that the Philippines has responded accordingly to the European Parliament regarding its allegations on the country's human rights violations. In an interview with A Big Story, DTI Assistant Secretary Alan Gepti said that this is not the first time that the EU passed a resolution regarding human rights violations and extrajudicial killings in the Philippines. Gepti added that the Philippine government has been cooperative on these resolutions.
Under the EU GSP Plus mechanism, we have a platform by which we can address all these allegations against the Philippines' compliance with the 27 international core conventions on human rights, labor, good governance, and environment. So as far as this issue is concerned, I think we have to take note that the Philippines, particularly the Interagency Committee addressing this issue, we have been very cooperative and we have responded to this accordingly.
Gepti also said that the Philippines maintained its GSP Plus status despite some resolutions in previous years.
We still maintain the EU GSP Plus preferences despite of those allegations made against the country, particularly on those issues of alleged extrajudicial killings and human rights violation. So as I mentioned earlier, there is an appropriate platform to address this. And under the EU GSP Plus mechanism.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The Manila Bay Dolomite Beach will still be closed to the public as the government rushes to finish rehabilitation in the area before the end of President Duterte's term. Shaila Francisco with the story.
Nelia and her relatives who came all the way from Las Piñas were surprised to see that Manila Bay Dolomite Beach is closed to the public. They initially planned activities to do inside.
Papahangin, picture. First time naming makadaan dito.
But Nelia and other visitors need to wait a little bit more for the artificial beach to reopen. This is because water quality in the area has not yet passed the standard level for swimming.
Nahihirapan kami dahil makita nyo meron pang mga illegal na pipes na kailangan natin isarado sa bandar, lalo na sa mga Rizal Park. So, ang gusto natin talagang package sa buo na so that buo na yung may offer nating services sa ating mga kababayan na pwede na silang mag-sightseeing dito, and at the same time the water quality is already safe.
While they address problems on water quality, they will continue rehabilitation works along the Baywalk. This includes laying the remaining dolomite sand in other parts, as well as dredging, setting up of pipes, and treating the water in the area. The Environment Department is also working on finishing the viewing area in Remedios Circle in Malate, Manila. Together with the Defense Department, they also plan to install a replica of a heritage cannon used during the Battle of Manila Bay in 1898. The agencies will bring it all the way from Corregidor so people who can't go to the island can see a glimpse of history nearby. The DNR aims to finish the rehabilitation and make the beach swimmable before the end of President Duterte's term. Shaila Francisco, We Are One News.
Here are the stories from around the world. The U.S. National Archives reports that former President Donald Trump took classified information to his Florida home after leaving the White House. The Congress Oversight Committee will handle the investigation on the matter. Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam says they will take more drastic measures to contain their latest COVID-19 outbreak. Now, these include rolling out mass testing and setting up temporary quarantine facilities with the help of mainland China. Lam admitted that Hong Kong is facing its toughest fight since the pandemic began over 2 years ago. Now, at least 9 people have died in Europe as Storm Eunice battered the region on Friday. A total of 436 flights were canceled across the United Kingdom amid record winds of up to 122 miles per hour. More than 100,000 buildings were also left without power, while trains and ferries were canceled due to the storm. Hong Kong hospitals are now feeling the brunt of the surge in COVID-19 cases driven by the Omicron variant. More details in this Bloomberg Quick Take.
一波嘅疫情，見到即係醫院係會接近淪陷嘅情況出現。咁而家醫院入邊嘅情況咧都好嚴峻，係因為你見到就係今日明愛醫院用明愛醫院為例啦，咁你見到好多嘅病人都需要安置喺一啲露天嘅地方咁樣，咁個情況其實係唔理想嘅，即係確診病人係多咗好多。咁而醫管局方面其實冇一個即係預先嘅計劃去點樣處理，即係咁大量嘅病人去求診嘅情況啦。
Hong Kong is struggling to contain the highly contagious Omicron variant, logging daily numbers in the thousands. Hong Kong's dynamic zero policy has filled the city's hospital wards with hundreds of people with mild or no symptoms, and many more are still waiting for a bed.
明愛醫院都將對急症室對面嘅停車場咧都設立咗大約目測咧，我諗有40個嘅帳房去安置呢啲嘅病人，至少2位病人就喺等候期間都可能跌親。係啦，因為我哋知道可能有啲病人可能都會有啲所謂腦退化症咁樣，佢哋可能會所謂擒床啊。
Hong Kong has emerged unprepared for this latest outbreak. The longest wait time to see a doctor at an emergency ward has soared to over 8 hours at some of the city's 18 public hospitals on Tuesday.
即係好多病人嚟咗啦，安置地方擴大啦，增加咗帳房啦，咁但係其實人手冇增加到。據我所知，其實就係而家大約可能面對緊100個即係病人喺outdoor嘅地方去等候安排同埋處理啦。咁嗰個人手可能大約都係1至2位同事去處理。 咁呢個情況係相當之唔理想啦，係啊，咁會令到嗰個治療質素咧，亦都可能會下降，因為你唔係做決策啊嘛，其實都係好無奈，亦都好憤怒咁樣。點解即係嗰一班喺辦公室嘅所謂管理層啊，佢哋有時間嚇都係會即係有時間點解唔可以即係進行一個更加好嘅長遠規劃，同政府多啲溝通，政府多啲同公營醫療衞生系統嘅機構去溝通，去提供一個更加提供一個更加完善嘅計劃，俾同事可以 follow 去做咧。咁所以其實喺今次情況嚟講，醫管局係責無旁貸嘅一定。
A representative from the Hong Kong Hospital Authority didn't respond to a request for comment, but the agency has said it's looking to shorten patient waiting times.
我哋都知道咧，而家數以千計嘅病人咧，就喺初步確診或者確診嘅病人咧，就等緊安排入院或者社區隔離設施。咁呢個情況咧係唔理想。
Leader Kerry Lam has said the government is looking to bolster resources to fight the outbreak.
And so far, our measures to contain the spread of a disease remains a legitimate and valid one. The problem we are facing is given the magnitude, the pace of and the severity of this fifth wave, it has outgrown our capacity. So the immediate response of the Hong Kong SAR government, now with the support of the Central People's Government, is to enhance the capacities at various parts of this anti-epidemic effort, and we are doing this.
In keeping with Beijing's strategy of eradicating every single case, Hong Kong's health infrastructure may be on the verge of collapsing.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.